So this is a story that I think is really, really important, and it's not getting nearly enough play. So take a look at this headline. Corporations are using inflation as an excuse to raise prices and make fatter profits, and it's making the problem worse. So let's go to the next graphic here, and I'll break this down for you guys. Consumer prices are going up, but corporate profits are rising even faster. Walmart, which announced third quarter financial results this morning, was able to post better than expected earnings, in part by offering fewer discounts to shoppers. But a lot of large firms have spent their recent quarterly calls bragging to investors about their ability to hike prices with relative impunity. What we are very good at is pricing. Colgate-Palmolive CEO Noel Wallace said, whether it's foreign exchange inflation or raw and packing material inflation, we have found ways over time to recover that in our margin line. We've been very comfortable with our ability to pass on the increases we've seen at this point, Kroger CFO Gary Millerchip said in October, and we would expect that to continue to be the case. Corporations have a tendency to try and boost profit margins during periods of elevated inflation, the Wall Street Journal reported, and now is no different. Roughly two-thirds of the largest publicly traded U.S. companies have reported better profits this year than the same period in 2019, the Wall Street Journal found. Citing FactSet data, nearly 100 of those were performing at least 50% better this year than in 2019. Former U.S. Labor Secretary Robert Reich called this phenomenon a symptom of the economic concentration of the American economy in the hands of a relative few corporate giants with the power to raise prices. Inflation may be a problem for consumers, but the bigger issue is a lack of competition, Reich said. Corporations are using the excuse of inflation to raise prices and make fatter profits, he said. Now look at that graph at the bottom there. U.S. before tax corporate profits. Look at that graph at the bottom. Look at what's going on with corporate profits. It's going up and up and up, and it skyrockets within the last year. Now, why is that? You can come back to me now, Colvin. Why is that? They just explained it to you right there. So in other words, because there's now just relentless talk of inflation and how bad inflation is and how terrible it is and how it's everywhere and oh my God, what are we going to do? Our hair's on fire. Corporations are capitalizing on the inflation panic to go, is anybody looking at what I'm doing? Raise all the prices. So, in other words, even for goods that are not experiencing the inflation, they're raising the prices and then turning around and saying, it's inflation. It's not our fault. The price of the goods is going up. What do you want me to do? So it's not like every sector of the economy is experiencing inflation. That's not what's happening. And when you go to the specifics of inflation, it has a lot to do with the supply chain and the disruptions in the supply chain as a result of the pandemic. And so it's impacting certain industries much more. Also with oil, it has to do with OPEC and Saudi Arabia, and that's a much longer conversation. But, certain industries, certain goods are experiencing it. But now you have these big box retailers turn around, Walmart turns around, and is like, let's just raise a lot of the prices, make more profits, and then pretend like, there's nothing we could do, it's inflation! We didn't raise the prices just to make more profit, it's all because of inflation, bro! They are lying and hiding behind inflation. Now, you might turn around and say, well, Kyle, what the hell are we supposed to do to fix this? What do you want, government price controls or something? How do we fix this? Robert Reich just laid it out for you. The problem is we're dealing with monopolistic companies. A lot of these companies are monopolies. And you need to break these companies up. Why? Because when you break the companies up, there's more competition, and then you can't get away with charging a higher price on a good that doesn't require the higher price. So, look, it goes back to Matt Stoller talks about this all the time. There's a very rich dialogue when it comes to monopolies and antitrust stuff. Bottom line is, that's the solution on this front. Or else you're going to have these unscrupulous corporations take advantage. I mean, this is disaster capitalism 101. They're just taking advantage of a panic and using it to their own benefit. And then what's going to happen? Everybody will just blame inflation because nobody's talking about this on mainstream media. And it didn't even make it to 80% of the print outlets that are out there. So nobody knows about this. And so the inflation, fear-mongering, and panic has now led to corporations taking advantage of that and raising the prices even when they don't have to. It's really astounding, man. It's really stunning watching this unfold in real time. It's also astounding watching everybody not talk about inflation in an educated way. Listen, if you blame the COVID stimulus packages for inflation, I understand that position because that's what I thought led to it too. I thought, oh, okay, well, there's big spending. So the big spending, that increases the money supply, that can lead to inflation. Well, no, when I spoke to economists and experts on this who know way more than I do on this particular topic, in no uncertain terms, they said, it is not the stimulus bills, period. It's the supply chain. And so that's such an important fact, and it's that viewpoint is not even in minority representation in mainstream media. Everybody just assumes, it's all the big spending bills. Now, if you think it's the big spending bills, then what's likely to happen as a result of that? The next big spending bill, Build Back Better, they're going to oppose it and say, it'd be crazy to do it because of inflation. We have never really broken free of the chains of Reaganomics and Austrian economics. We've never really been able to break free of that mindset. And as a result of that, we're in hell. We're in hell. Because now the common sense position is don't raise wages because that's bad. That leads to inflation. That's what MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle said to us. Don't spend on stuff like childcare and elder care and universal pre-K and universal college because that'll lead to inflation. So just do austerity and that'll help people. That will only exacerbate our problems. So listen, I've never been more convinced you need to enforce our antitrust laws and break up a lot of these big companies, because if not, this is going to keep happening. They'll say, we got to raise prices because of inflation, and in no uncertain terms, they are lying about that.